A couple of years ago, God taught me from His Word how to replace the turmoil in my soul with a perfect peace that passes understanding. We've heard it said that anxiety is a lack of faith. It is disobeying Jesus' command to not be anxious. But all that kind of teaching does is to make us doubly anxious. Not only do we carry anxiety about life, but we're also scared that our emotions are displeasing God. Let's take a step back, though. When Jesus says, "Be anxious for nothing," He doesn't condemn us for the spiraling of our emotions. Rather, He invites us to lay aside our anxiety because God cares for us a lot more than He does for birds. Psalm 42 and 43 tell us the same thing. The answer for a soul that is disquieted in us is to hope in God. So how do we do that? If we've been plagued with a lack of peace, how do we achieve this perfect peace that passes understanding? Let's look at the two passages that give us this phrase. In Isaiah 26:3, the foundation of the perfect peace is what the psalmist talked about, what Jesus talked about. We trust in God. But the practical step Isaiah gives is to fix our minds on God. That's where the rubber meets the road. Are we going to allow our minds to dwell on those things that cause us to spiral into our anxiety and depression? Or are we going to, in those moments, fix our minds on God? Will I lie awake fretting over the bill that is due, the stress of a damaged relationship, the fear of the unknown? Or will I open my Bible to a psalm about God's goodness and provision and thank God verse by verse for the reality of that passage? Philippians 4:6-9 completes the thought. These verses are all about peace. Think about the things that are true and honorable and just and pure and lovely, commendable. Does that remind you of anything? Remember Isaiah's call to set our minds on God. If you think about things that are good, if you set your mind on God, you will experience a peace that passes all understanding. I am convinced that our achieving of an unthinkable, perfect peace is accomplished by getting our minds out of the spiraling, anxious thoughts and intentionally fixing them on the goodness, provision, and beauty of God. When we make the choice to turn our minds to those things rather than dwelling on our anxiety feeders, we will be blown away by the emotional transformation we receive from the God of peace. That's what Isaiah told Israel. It's what Jesus preached to the multitudes. It's what Paul wrote to the Philippians. And it's still true today.